Hey, everyone. The date is April 1st, 2025. This is the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission, and I'm about to read the agenda. The items listed on the agenda may be taken out of the order presented. 2 or more agenda items for consideration may be combined, and any item on the agenda may be removed or related discussion may be delayed at any time. Backup material for this agenda may be obtained from Lou Ann D. Holmes, City Clerk, at the Office of City Clerk, 495 South Main Street, second floor, on the city or on the city's webpage at lasvegasnevada.gov. And with that, I'll go ahead and call us to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Chair Becker,
Here.
Vice Chair Niger,
Here.
Commissioner Sherman, Commissioner Armenian,
Here.
Commissioner Gabray, Commissioner Howard, Commissioner Keller, Commissioner Martin, excuse Commissioner Zamora, excuse Commissioner Burgos,
I'm here on the phone.
Commissioner Cornwall,
Here.
Commissioner Robinson,
Present.
Commissioner Stitt, Commissioner Vokitz,
Present.
Commissioner Jones.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. I'd now like to just double check that we're in compliance with the open meeting law.
You are.
Great. Moving to agenda item number 3, this is a section for public comment. Comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. Great. Seeing no one? But I will add just briefly that commissioners, since it is April 1st, please refrain from any whoopee cushions or distractions of that nature. We have a lot to do today. Okay. Agenda item number 4, for possible action to approve the final minutes by reference of the regular meeting of March 4th, 2025. You have all read the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
State your name, Commissioner. Just state your name.
Oh,
Commissioner,
Commissioner Cornwell, motion to approve, please.
thanks, and your ward. That's okay.
Mary.
Do I have a second?
Commissioner Gabray,
Ward 5.
Ward 5.
Great. Seconded? Okay, great. I have a motion to approve in a second, so I'd like to go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Great, the motion carries. Moving to agenda item number 5, report by the Department of Public Safety regarding issues at city facilities and parks, all wards. Hi, Lieutenant.
Good afternoon. So for the month of March, we had 763 calls for service. Please note, for the calls for service, this does not include when we do perimeter checks on our own, or if we secure a facility or we're out of the vehicle. That is just somebody calling in requesting service. So for Ward 1, we had a total of 91 calls for service in the month of March. Our top 3 parks was Gary Dexter Park. We had 15 calls for service, and of those 15 calls for service, we had 7 either citations or arrest. Our top violations were park violations and also lodging without consent. For Bearden Park, we had 8 calls for service with either 7 citation or arrest from those calls for service. And our third park was Rotary Park. We had 6 calls for service, and of the 6 calls, we had 3 either citation or arrest. In Ward 2, we had a total of 49 calls for service. Our top 3 parks was CLV Park. We had 16 calls for service to that park. Of the 16, 6 ended up in a citation or arrest for either lodging without consent and park violations. In Angel Park, we had 14 calls for service. Of the 14 calls for service, we had 5 citation and/or arrests, and the violations included different park violation and narcotics. And the third park was Bruce Trent Park. We had 5 calls for service, and of the 5 calls for service, we had either 3 citation or arrest, and that included lodging without consent. In Ward 3, we had 250 calls for service. Our top 3 parks, first one was Justice Leavitt Park. We had 88 calls for service. Of the 88, that ended up with 53 citation or arrest. That included park violations, warrant, and lodging without consent. Gary Reese Freedom Park had 46 calls for service, which ended up being either 18 citation or arrest for park violation and wrongful possession of a shopping cart. And Rafael Rivera was our third highest park, and it had 15 calls for service, and of the 15, 13 citation or arrests. In Ward 4, we had 85 calls for service, the top being at Mountain Ridge Park with 17 calls for service. And of those, we had 2 citation or arrests, and that was for lodging without consent. La Madre Trails Park had 6 calls for service, and of those, we had 2 citation or arrests. And the third highest was Cliff Shadows Park, which had 2 calls for service, one which was a citation or arrest, and that was for trespassing. In Ward 5, we had 228 calls for service. The top 3 parks was Ethel Pearson. We had 27 calls for service. 21 had citation or arrest for park violations or warrants. Lorenzi Park has 68 calls for service. Of those 68, we had 17 citation or arrests for park violation and narcotics. Ed Fountain Park had 24 calls for service. 6 had citation or arrests, and that was for lodging without consent. In Ward 6, we had 60 calls for service. Floyd Lamb was our highest at 19 calls for service, and that ended up with a citation or arrest for expired license plate. And Ellen Beck Memorial Park had 4 calls for service, and one of those ended up being a citation or arrest for suspended registration or plates. Right now, we still have 3 trailer cameras. One has been at All-American to combat issues at sporting events. Sorry. Oh, go back. We had one, or we still have one at Centennial Hills YMCA in response to multiple burglaries. And the third camera was deployed to the Llama Lot in response to safety concerns from Strong Start Academy. During the month of March, we had 2 different events for community-oriented policing events, or COP. One was on March 6th at the Doolittle Community Center, where we participated in the Nevada Reading Week. And on March 29th, this last weekend, we had an event at Wayne Bunker Park, which was a children's fair. I actually attended that event also. It was a really great event where they allowed children to come in, and if they had businesses, to advertise their business, and they also let them do different performances on the stage. It was a really great event. If you have any questions.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Do we have questions, commissioners? Oh, look at that. Look at that. Great, excellent job, Lieutenant. Thank you so much. Hey, as a quick aside, before I read agenda item number 6, we do have, I'm going to have him introduce himself in the report by commissioners section, but we do have Walter Jones. He's a new commissioner with us today from Ward 5. Agenda item number 6 is a report by Steve Glimp, Parks and Grounds Maintenance Manager regarding parks maintenance updates, all wards.
Good afternoon, Steve Glimp, Manager of Parks and Grounds Maintenance. Just a little report on some projects we've been working on out in the wards. At Ward 1, at Charleston Neighborhood Preservation Park, we have a new playground shade up. Ward 2 at All American Park, we just got the parking lot re-slurried, sealed and striped. Ward 3, at 3 parks actually, Mike Morgan, Hadlin, and Levitt Parks, installed ADA compliant restroom door hardware. And then Ward 4 at Cimarron Rose Park, another one of these Gaga ball pits. And then Ward 5, Lubertha Johnson Park, just installed a fitness area. This one's actually not 100% done. There'll be some surfacing, some resilient surfacing going in on top of that concrete in there. And then Teton Trails Park, same thing, a fitness area, and where you see the decomposed granite, that will be resilient surfacing. And then, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our accessible and adaptive playgrounds. These 2 photos are from the new playground at Kellogg's Air. The 5 to 12 playground has access ramps all around to get wheelchairs up it, and then you have what's called on the left a we-go-round, which is basically a merry-go-round that's accessible, and then molded bucket safety swings. And then so kind of a list of all of our parks and all the features that are in those parks. I'm not going to read through every one of them, but it's 23, 24 parks, which equates to roughly 30% of our parks have adaptive features in them. That top photo, well, actually all 3 of these photos are what's considered a sensory play wall. It's a ground feature that just offers different components to it that kids can interact with. And then the rest of the list, and then the molded bucket safety swings. The middle photo is a ramped playground. That one's actually at Lorenzi. And the bottom one is what's called an Omni Spinner, which are considered adaptive ground features. Oops. So that list of information, we're going to get that to the Office of Communications, and they'll get that up on the city's website and update all the park-specific web pages so that this information's up there. And that's all I got. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Great questions. Yeah, Commissioner Robinson.
Thank you, Chair. Bob Robinson, Ward 1. Mr. Glimp, I want to thank you personally. I'd reached out regarding a constituent's concern at Firefighters Memorial Park. Do you have an update on that? It was something about a water leak. Is there any follow-up to that I can relay to my constituent?
Yeah, so we found a cracked fitting on a lateral line that had, coupled with a weeping valve. So my staff just jumped right on it and repaired it.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, as a follow-up, Bob Robinson, Ward 1, I want to thank you personally because I had reached out and just to acknowledge that I got an out-of-office reply that you were actually out and perhaps it was personal time, whatever, but the point is that it was a very rapid response by you and your team, and I want to personally thank you for that.
That's what we try to do.
Commissioner Jones.
Thank you for your time today. Quick question. I was seeing on here where you say some of these are made for wheelchair accessible. With this rubber, is it wheelchair accessible to ride on the rubber?
Yeah, this surfacing, most of these photos, it's called a bonded rubber surface, and it's considered wheelchair accessible.
Thank you.
Other commissioners? No? I mean, it's Manager Glimp. The only question I have, so this is something that's going to happen at every single park that we have? That we're going to find new ways to have adaptive?
That is our goal. So we're roughly, like I said, at about 30%
Okay.
with our parks, but ultimately, I think we'd like to have some features at every park.
Great. I really appreciate the effort for inclusion. Thanks so much, and great report,
Thanks.
as always. Moving to agenda item number 7, we have a report by Patrick O'Mara, Deputy Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs Director regarding recreation and center updates, all wards.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I want to apologize because pretty much the rest of the agenda, you have to look at me down here in front of you. I'll talk a little bit about our recreation updates. I've been talking a little bit about our staffing in the recreation division, kind of keeping you up to date with some of our retirements and replacing them and things like that. So last week, 2 weeks ago, we offered the recreation manager position. Those of you who have been here, except for our newest commissioner up there, you know that we had Aaron Radke as our recreation manager, for about a year and a half, a little bit longer, I think. And so you saw her at these meetings providing this recreation update. We did offer the position about 2 weeks ago, and it was accepted last week. And so at our next meeting, we'll make the formal introductions, but our new rec manager will begin on Monday, this next week. We're actively recruiting and verifying scores right now for some recreation leader positions. We expect to have those interviews done in the next several weeks with offers out no later than the end of this month. We know for sure that we will have 2 openings. We believe we might get a third. As I've mentioned, we have a position justification committee right now, given our extra financial consciousness at the moment. And so that board will actually make the determination if we get that third position back. And then we are actively recruiting right now for our summer positions for our hourly staff. So as you know, our hourly positions can balloon up to several hundred, almost 1,000 staff during the summer, as we have camp and pools and all those things that we are increasing our staffing levels for. And so we are actively recruiting that hourly staff now. In fact, we have some aquatic job fairs coming up. I believe the first one is this coming Saturday, and then 2 Saturdays after that. One is at Pavilion and one is at, the last one is over at Muni Pool around the corner from here. And we're looking for lifeguards, we're looking for water safety instructors, we're looking for cashiers, we're looking for the whole gamut, especially because, we will have 4 outdoor pools that we don't generally staff open for the summer. So we are looking for a lot of aquatic staff. And then summer camp, we're able to convert most of our existing hourly staff into our summer camp, and then we have a good handful of returning staff from, who are attending college right now or those kinds of things, who will be rejoining our staff in the summer. And so we're very happy to be in such a position that we're not actually doing hiring fairs for them. We're picking one off here and there and those kinds of things, but often more this year than in most, we actually have a really good returning group of people that we're excited to hire. wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on some of the programs. Now, this is by no means a comprehensive list. These are actually just a selection of the highlights that we are working with right now. First and foremost, a few citywide things. Summer camp registration actually starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. And this is always a very busy day for us and for our tech crew, making sure that registrations take place very smoothly. Now, I did mention at a previous meeting, I believe, that we have certain limitations on our recreation registration program. And so we're trying something a little bit new this year. We are phasing in our registration for summer camp. So our first 5 weeks, May and the 4 weeks of June, will be registering beginning tomorrow morning. The families who have an active registration for weeks 1 through 5, in 2 weeks will be able to register for 6 through 8, so that we have a little bit of a consistency for those families. And then everything opens citywide on the 23rd for anybody to register. Now, I may have mentioned this previously, but the reason that this is a challenge is many of our families use our financial assistance. Many of them have multi-child discount. Many of them have more than 1 week. And then, of course, there are more than one child? Yes, more than one child. I always get that one mixed up. I'm trying to speak grammatically correct. More than one child in the household. And so because we have so many of those complicating factors, the system just gets bogged down, because you'll have the registration itself, the scholarship, the multi-child discount. I feel like there's another one in there somewhere. And then you have those 3 or 4 lines for every single week for every single child, and it just becomes a nightmare of a checkout cart. Think about Christmas time and how many things you throw into your Amazon cart, and multiply that by like 5, because you have 5 kids, right? So we're trying this in the hopes that it'll be an easier experience for our families. We believe it will be, but we are working that direction this year to try and provide the best service we can, and that we don't have as much confusion over did I get in, did the system crash, all those kinds of things. And so just wanted to kind of point out a couple of those things. And then we are running aquatic training right now. So if you are a teenager or even somebody at an older age that wants to try their hand at lifeguarding, we actually have several retirees who just want to have something to do, who come back to us, loved being a lifeguard as a teenager, want to kind of experience a little bit of that again. So if you're at least 15 and a half and you want to work for us, we will actually provide you with the training. And so we're very invested in training right now. We have a lot of our staff going through that, putting on those trainings for potential summer staff at both Muni Pool and Pavilion. So I broke down our programming a little bit by ward this time. Ward 1, we have our Leeburn Active Adult Center, and on what is the 4th? That's Friday, we actually have waffle breakfast. Our food events are always well attended at our active adult centers, because it's just that social lubricant for getting together and having a great time. And so just like that might be for our families when we get together for a barbecue or a social event, there's going to be food, and so we always love that. So I did call out a handful of those. We also do a spring-themed luncheon that will be in a couple of weeks on the 18th. That one starts at 11:30. We are doing a movie club. We've been doing it March and April, and so movie club is every Wednesday at 2 p.m. where the users of the center can just come in. We show a different movie every week. And that's always well attended. We have popcorn for people and all that stuff. Right next door at Mirabelli Community Center, we have our sports skills programs going on, and so those are fundamental skills where we'll teach the kids how to dribble their soccer ball, how to properly pass, and those types of things. And then also, I believe we're moving into basketball right now because we do have a summer basketball program coming up. So we're looking at those things, but we do basic level skill programs coming up, and Mirabelli is doing a great job with those. And then, of course, we do have a handful of no school fun days left this year. One is coming up on the 18th. That is the No School Fun Day, the day after Easter for those who happen to celebrate that. That is a Clark County No School Day, and so we provide that. For families who don't have the same opportunity for their parents. So we have the 18th, and then again on the 28th. My belief is that the 28th is a professional development day for the staff. In Ward 2, Veterans Memorial Community Center, we have our Nerf Mania also on that No School Fun Day. That one is a little bit later into the evening. And then next week, Tuesday, we have our Power Wheels Cup. That's always fun to see our tots running around in their Power Wheels and racing each other. So that is available to them. And same days for No School Fun Days up at Vets. Programming updates in Ward 3. So those of you who have been around for a bit know that when we reopened East Las Vegas Community Center, we did want to reopen it as a multi-gen. So we do have active adult programs in there and children's programs, and anybody in the middle that we can. And so we are doing a senior trip with our team over there to the Clark County Fair next week. We have senior luncheons on the 16th and 24th. Those usually start about 11:30. And then we have learned code classes that we're working with on the weekends. And so that'll be something that is available. They do pretty much all ages, and it's a great way for kids to start getting their feet wet in what is fast becoming an essential skill to those entering the job market. And then we have culinary creators. We really love working with our young folks on basic baking and culinary skills, and so we participate in that in our teaching kitchen. SUPAC, also in Ward 3, we have a community health fair toward the end of the month. That is going to be from 10 to noon, and we have service providers who will come in and be a part of that. And then we are in the process of ramping up our mentoring program at SUPAC. Years ago, we got a grant for the after-school program at SUPAC to provide some financial assistance to families in the area who want to participate in the after-school program that we have there. That grant is coming to an end, and so we've been working with the National Parks and Recreation Association to actually transfer the grant that we had at Becker Tech. With our changes over at that facility, we're actually reinstituting that program and providing that same opportunity for a very reduced cost, almost no cost, after-school program to that community. And I'll actually touch on that because we're bringing it to one more center. Out in Ward 4, Cimarron Rose, we do have our No School Fun Days, again, same days, 18th and 28th. And then this picture here on the right-hand side on your screens, as you can see, that was our donuts and juice with Dr. Seuss on Dr. Seuss's birthday earlier last month. That was well attended, as you can see. I was able to go out and have a donut, which was fantastic. And of course, the councilwoman was also there. She loves to participate in that and read to the kids. And She was able to participate in that event, and it was a great time. Ward 5, so Doolittle Active Adult Center, that we are celebrating National Hamburger Day, so I expect to see all of you there. I will definitely be there for that one, at 10 a.m., again, in the Active Adult Center, and then Hispanic Heritage Taco Luncheon on May 1st, again, at 11 o'clock. Next door at the community center, we will have our annual egg hunt this Saturday, 10 a.m., and then we have instituted some DJ classes. As we've been maneuvering some other programs around, we've been able to actually get some of those programs up and running at Doolittle that were not thriving very well over at Becker Tech, and so those programs are underway. We have a session that is starting on April 4th that's this Friday. And then, as I mentioned, with the Stupak Community Center, we are actually able to utilize that same grant for our very popular Doolittle Community Center after-school program, and so, again, providing a little bit of that financial assistance to that community through the mentoring program grant through NRPA. Becker Tech, we are ramping back up the programming over there. As I mentioned, we did go through a little bit of a transition with retirements and several things over there. One of the ways that we were really able to connect with the community that we're trying to capitalize and trying to use as a springboard into more of those tech programs is our hybrid athletics programs. And so we actually have our municipal sports unit operating out of that facility now. And they are working on skills programs for athletics that we happen to be running at the time. So you'll be able to come out and run drills and, basic, skills for that program, and then we actually tie it into some of the esports that were very popular prior. So we're doing a little bit of both, but certainly getting the kids out and getting them active for health and fitness reasons as well. And then one of those rooms over there actually has a very active fitness center, just a handful of machines kind of serving dual purposes and things like that. And I've been out there several times over the last several months, and every time I'm there, there's always somebody in there working with our staff on, form and increasing their weights and all that kind of stuff. And then out at Ward 6, we are doing a bunny hop luncheon at the Active Adult Center the 9th, which would be next Thursday. And so, next Wednesday. So, and that again, a luncheon at an Active Adult Center, they just love coming out and using that as a way to work on, not work on, because they don't need to work on it, but to increase their social opportunities. And we love to have them out. So that is the recreation report for this month, if anybody has any questions.
It looks like we have no questions, Director, for that particular agenda item. They're all being quiet. They're saving it for later, I think. Agenda item number 8, also a report by Patrick O'Mara, Deputy Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs Director regarding capital improvement program projects for fiscal year 2026 all wards.
I may have forgotten this at the beginning, but for the record, Pat O'Mara, Deputy Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. So we've been talking a little bit about this off and on. I was able to finally get some information moving forward. Some of this information is continuing from previous fiscal years, but I did want to talk a little bit about our capital improvement programs. So we in general, we get funding from 5 different sources for our improvements. We can actually work with City Manager's Office and Finance and provide some money out of the general fund for those purposes. We utilize the SNPLMA grant program. There's been a little bit of talk about that lately, because we're toward the end of a funding round. So it's actually, you know, out in the community right now. For everybody, just general awareness, SNPLMA stands for the Southern Nevada Public Lands Management Act, and it is a granting program within the Department of Interior where federal lands within Clark County and Southern Nevada are sold off, and portions of those proceeds come back through this granting program for various reasons, but one of the mechanisms that it has is specifically for parks, trails, and natural areas. And that's one area that we participate in. It is for general capital improvement, where state parks and other agencies within the state, primarily located down here in Clark County, and even Nye County, where we are able to submit a grant application and get some funding from that program with every round that they sell off, and have a tranche of granting process. We do have the ability as a municipality to issue park bonds, which we did most recently in 2015 and 2016. Those bonds are getting close to final payoff, where the city has met its bond obligation on that. We do get funding through the residential construction tax. So with every rooftop that is built, there is a funding mechanism that provides funding for things like a park development and things like that. So it's very specific about where we can actually use that money. We can't use it for operations or any of that kind of stuff. It is for major renovation and building of that. And then we actually set funding aside in our operation budget for asset replacement. Now this, I'm not going to touch on this much more than this in this presentation, because asset replacement is generally where we get the funding that Steve presents to you every month when we do a project, and it generally comes out of this fund. So some current projects that we have going on. Right now we're doing the Cragen Park rehabilitation. That's actively underway right now, and it should be completed in Q3 of 2025. We're working very hard to try and have that park completed before the school year begins, or as close to the beginning of the school year as possible, because and the name is escaping me at the moment, but the school that's right there next to the property utilizes that for PE and things of that nature. So Ansan Sister Cities Park, we did a bid opening for construction for some rehabilitation there. Construction is expected to begin within the next 3 months or so. And I don't know why my autocorrect does that, but Rancho Oki Dog Park is currently in permitting right now, and we expect to be underway for construction in this quarter. Betty Wilson West is a SNPLMA award. We are currently working right now on the agreements and to accept the funding officially with the Department of Interior. That is actually the image there that you see on the right-hand side. Right now, it's a general large turf area. It is not engineered for athletics or anything like that. It is usable that way, and we do some small-sided play right now in that space, but we are looking at, in conjunction with some of our turf reduction and things of that nature, we're actually looking at utilizing synthetic turf on that parcel, part of the property. We're going to increase the parking, replace the restroom, and then, as you can see, we'll lay out 4 synthetic turf fields with some amenities in there as well. And then that is a calibrated walking track that should be, that we anticipate will have lighting on it for walking. This seemingly looks like a sidewalk that kind of runs almost straight through. The right-hand side of that is the Lone Mountain Trail. And so that's one of the elements of SNPLMA, is if we can attach a new project to something that's in existence, they really love that, because it's really trying to find that synergy between what they've already funded and what they're going to be funding, to make sure that assets that are in use stay in use. And Lone Mountain was one of those previous projects. And then we are also working on some design for firefighters' dog park. So there will be some renovation going on at Firefighters Memorial Park at some point. We are working on negotiating the contract right now for design of that park. In Ward 2, the biggest project up there for sure right now is the Regional Aquatic Complex at Pavilion Pool. So for those who are less familiar with this project, we are putting in an Olympic-sized pool with some assistance from the Sandpipers of Nevada. They provided a small donation, I wouldn't say small, it's $1 million donation to help fund this pool. And then we will actually be adding some classrooms and storage areas, and certainly a new mechanical room and things like that into this facility, which will really allow us to do some special things up at that location. We are in construction now, and current our expected date of completion is toward the end of January, early February of 2026. That is a SNPLMA project. We received, I believe, $12 million, and then the city filled in the gaps on the actual cost for the build. This is going to be placed, it is being built between the existing indoor pavilion pool and Veterans Memorial Community Center. Angel Park renovation, we are underway with that. I believe that bids have just been opened on that. I may be a little bit wrong, but our estimate on construction is to begin in the third quarter of this year. And then Veterans Memorial Sport Court addition, so that would be an addition onto the north side of that building. We are working on design right now. Ward 3, of course, there's a little project across the street called the Civic Plaza, Goodman Plaza, as it was recently renamed. You can see a picture of it as of, I believe that was Tuesday last week. So we have a lot of our trees in there. Certainly we're basically in the final phases of construction. That whole project included not just our park amenities there that you can see with the plaza and the stage and things like that, but things that are going to be utilized by the city as a whole. So you can sort of see on the very right of that screen, Building 1, as we're calling it, that's going to be staff areas, 5 floors of staff offices, and then the building at the far end is actually going to be, Building 2 will be leasable space, and right now we have some strategic partners that are in line to be leasing those spaces. We have East Las Vegas Family Dog Park. We're in permitting for that, hoping to have construction start in Q3. East Las Vegas Legacy Park feasibility study just finished. So we are actively looking at opportunities for that park to come into play and be able to provide additional honors to those who have had significant impact on our community from the East Las Vegas area. And then Freedom Park restroom replacement is about 50% design right now. And there's some other amenities that are involved in that, but we should be able to, I think we're on track to have design finished either end of this calendar year or beginning of next calendar year. Stewart Park Place upgrades, design is complete, and we are holding the project there for the moment due to some, certainly some funding concerns. We're working on how to make that happen, but we have to have designs on, we need to be looking at how to renovate all the time. And so we're at that point with Stewart Park Place. Ward 4, Police Memorial Parks upgrades are scheduled to be completed later this spring. The Wayne Bunker Regional Pickleball Complex is in permitting now. This is a SNPLMA project, so there are additional hoops to jump through to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the Department of Interior and BLM. That is a screenshot of the design. I'm realizing that in its current form, that's not a great screenshot, but there are 24 courts going in at that location once the project is complete. And then we hope to have construction begin in this next quarter. Durango Hills Pool, so that it's a facility that is operated by the YMCA, but that is our facility. The pool renovation is just completing now, and that facility should be reopening in the next several weeks. We are also working on relocating the Veterans Memorial that was at the Grant Sawyer building owned by the state of Nevada. We're in design now. And we just approved the contract for that design to be underway. Our goal is to have this open by Veterans Day next year of 2026. And then Durango Hills Active Adult Center feasibility study. So we don't have one, but we would like to put one up. And we have completed a feasibility study. That is certainly our first step in moving a project like that along. And so now that we know kind of how we would like to have it oriented and what we would, how we would program it and those kinds of things, when we have the opportunity to move forward on a certainly larger project like that, we have at least that first step completed. Ward 5, so we have a SNPLMA project right now. We're actively working on design for the Lorenzi tennis court expansion. So that would include a new office, locker rooms, restroom facility at Lorenzi Tennis. And it would also include, I think it's 3 courts, it may be 4, memory is failing me at the moment, but I'm almost positive it's 3 courts in addition to that. So we would just kind of expand out the footprint there. That is a rendering of what the new building would look like. Right now they're operating out of a trailer off to the side, and so it would certainly be an upgrade there. We do have a plan moving forward. We opened bids for a Lorenzi pickleball courts this last week, and so now it's about truthing out the numbers and the bids and those kinds of things before and if we move forward for that. Here's park renovation. We actually did a kickoff of the design. When was that? That was today. So they're all running together, but that was earlier today. So we do have a design contract in place that was awarded by City Council in March. So we're getting started on a renovation project in design there. Doolittle Master Plan, we are working on a design contract for that complex. And so that would include multiple amenities within that park. The park itself, possibly even the active adult center, the community center, all those things. We're trying to work on that as a campus feel. West Las Vegas Library, it's actually also on that same property. Full design contract went out in February, and so we're working on that right now. So at the end of this calendar year, the library is expected to move out and into their new facility, and we would then be taking over the library's existing facility. There is some renovation that we would be looking at doing, taking over the operations of the theater and several things like that. So we are working on that in the design right now. And then we are also working on negotiating full design for Wildwood Park renovation. And I don't know when that will go to City Council, but that needs to be approved by City Council before we continue moving on with that. And finally, Ward 6, Floyd Lamb Park Hay Barn restroom. That is a project on the books. We are working on, trying to remember what we're working on with that, but we are working on moving that one forward as well. That we feel will allow us to move forward with some larger events and certainly be able to maximize the programming out there at the Hay Barn right now. Northwest Regional Park Phase 1A is a SNBOMA project, and we are working on consultant selections for that. Centennial Hills pool renovation, so along with the Durango Hills, Centennial Hills Community Center is actually operated by the YMCA. And they have an indoor and an outdoor pool. Those are currently both under renovation right now. Outdoor pool we're trying to get completed by the summer, and then indoor pool would be a little bit later into the summer, generally expected to be completed in Q3. Teton Trails build out, so you can see the image that we have here. There is some undeveloped space in there, and we are negotiating design contract for that to move that project a little bit closer to completion and finish that park. Right now, we would certainly be looking at increasing parking. We would be looking at an additional field out there and the possibility of possibly some court sports out on that location. Floyd Lamb Park is also in design for one of the wells to be replaced. And so that is moving forward with that. That helps us with our operations out there. And most particularly, I think that location actually ties into our pond operations out there. And then Sky Canyon Park and the Metro Substation, that would be a new park, and we're under design with that project right now. So if there are any questions over all
Great.
of that.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of information. I know you guys have questions. Just keep in mind that we want to make sure that we keep our questions, use brevity because we are definitely running over today. So I see, Commissioner, go ahead. You have a question.
Commissioner Voketz, Ward 1. I have 4 items here, and I'll try and go through them quickly. One of them is kind of new business, and walking in Ward 1, I've visited Aloha Shores a number of times, and the patrons there on the courts, these are the pickleball courts, are asking for lights. So in the planning process in the future, I just want to bring this forward. I've also asked them to use the form stack to report this and email the administrative assistant their desire to play in the evening using lights. It's an addition to that venue. A question on Wayne Bunker. And this is the pickleball project there. So this is going back for approval from the Bureau of Land Management to get a blessing with all the changes. Do you have an idea how long it will be before you anticipate, is it like 2 years out before this can actually be used by the general public? Is there an idea on the timeline there?
So as I understand it, and I'm not directly involved in the current process right now with them, finalizing their approval. My understanding is that this is the final approval that they are giving us before we can move into permitting. Once we move into permitting, it's 12 to 15 months for construction. So that's really the best answer I can give you at this time, but I don't see it going a full 2 years. We are expecting approval at any time that we can then move into permitting, bidding, and move forward with this project.
Okay, and a different comment or feedback from the general public. In walking Cragen Park, I did walk the perimeter 2 weeks ago and was speaking to some of the folks that were looking at using Cragen Park for soccer. But the question is, are there water cannons that cool the grass off? And I'm not into water cannons, but I would, the concern is using the artificial turf when it's hot. So the question is there water cannons to cool off the grass?
No, and actually the research on that is just the opposite. What happens is that if we were to utilize water on a synthetic turf, the turf will actually break down the water molecules, it will create humidity in the area, and it will actually become more dangerous to use that space. So that is not something that we're pursuing at this time.
Director, I believe it's also the water droplets, this is Chair Becker, water droplets can also be reflective, which also increases heat generally.
And then just one more, in the Northwest Regional Park, do you have an idea what amenities are planned for that?
That's actually part of the design. So there's eventually, when we build it out, there will be some sports components, there will be a visitor center component, and those kinds of things. Certainly, many of the amenities we expect to see in any of our parks, play structures and gathering spaces and things of that nature as well. I don't really have a specific list of things that are necessarily going into 1A. We know that in the area we were hoping to build out in our first phase, we didn't get the grant funding for all of what we wanted, and so we're on 1A, which we still have to scale down and make work for us. And so I don't really have an answer for you. I will, once we're in the heat of all the design that we will be doing, but at this time, I don't really have a definitive answer on what a 1A looks like.
I know the place is huge. I do want to thank you and your staff for what you do, and the people in this community need to be blessed because they have a lot of opportunity to recreate. Thank you.
Other commissioners, Commissioner Armenian?
And the Armenian mayoral appointee, regarding Ward 1, Ensign Sister Cities Park. Is this a park under construction? And what's the address of this park?
I don't have the address off the top of my head. I think we are under construction now. We are working on some projects over there because we're doing certainly a lot of turf reduction on the non-functional turf, reworking some irrigation lines and things like that to make sure that existing trees have supplemental water, more than what they would need because they've been conditioned to have all the water from the turf as well. So we are working on several of those things right now. I'm trying to remember the specifics on that project, but okay. I don't know how to read that. You're just like my dad. It's just all a scribble.
I'm worse than a dog.
Can't be subpoenaed, or,
Just state your name for the record. Thank you.
Mike's not working. 7801 Ducharme, South Buffalo and Alta.
I have a question from Commissioner Jones.
Thank you. We've got a couple questions. Over here on, I'm representing Ward 5, Councilman Ward 5. On the library, do we know how soon they'll be starting on that, or I see it's in design, but what is the plans on doing with that library once it's
Yeah.
vacant?
Sure. So the plan is to get it to where design is complete before the library actually moves out. Now, tentative date for that to happen is the end of this calendar year, but we all know with construction projects that that may not be possible. So when they vacate, we hope to have everything in a row so that we can go out to bid for the renovation of that facility.
And another question. I'm new to the board, so that's why I'm asking
Yes, sir.
questions.
Well, we're glad to have you.
I appreciate being here with you guys. When these go out to bid, is it any way possible, and I'm asking this because I am a contractor, is there any way possible that the city can work out something with planning reviews where these can be already approved, so once it bids, who's ever the successful bidder can start working?
So in general, we try and get projects through permitting before we go to bid, so that hopefully all the dominoes are lined up and it is an easier program.
Well, it's more of having.
The difference in time between the bid and construction start, in my experience, for the projects that I've been involved with, have mostly been finalizing the numbers, finalizing the contracts, and things like that.
So once the contract is finalized, so are the permits ready to be pulled already, or do they have to resubmit for the plans? That's what I'm asking. Do they have to resubmit to pull the permits, or are the permits already ready
Yeah.
to the successful bidder?
So this isn't something that Parks and Rec generally deals with, but as I understand it, the city has already pulled all the permits by the time we go to bid.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other commissioners? No? I did have one quick question, Director O'Mara, which is, do you anticipate the settlement on the Badlands to impact any of the capital improvement funds going forward, or was that pretty much exempt?
Sure. So we're currently working on our budget. In fact, the first round of budget hearings and things like that will actually be tomorrow morning at City Council. And so, you know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The settlement certainly hurts, but it is something that that we are dealing with, I think, pretty well. You know, we are certainly being very cautious with which projects we advance right now in this current situation. And it is very likely going to be at a slower rate, just to make sure we're good to go on that. So, but again, you know, budget for next year is not set. It is something that City Council, you know, hasn't officially been presented. It won't happen until tomorrow. So, you know, there could be several changes to the information I've given. You know, they get to have their say through their processes before we get to the end of it.
Great. And then just as a follow-up, is there any opportunity for commissioners to, I suppose we could through our own council members, just have a say of support so that the budget is less impacted for Parks and Recreation, especially given the fact that Parks and Recreation tends to have more touch points and more face-to-face interaction with the public than any other department. So is there any opportunities, do you know of, beyond just going to our regular council members, where we can show our support for parks and retaining the budget?
Well, as a citizen of the city, you are welcome to exercise all rights that are afforded to you for that. So as a private citizen, you can come and advocate on your own if you'd like. You know, certainly we appreciate all of the support that you all give us, you know, each and every day, providing us, you know, feedback about something that's happening out in the park or maybe not happening out in the park, that kind of thing. and keeping in good contact with your council person or your mayor would certainly be of interest to us, because we want you as engaged as you want to be. And we appreciate all of your support that you provide us all the time. So, yeah, but as a private citizen, you're welcome to exercise your right in that manner, however you see fit.
Thank you so much. Seeing no other comments, I'd like to move to agenda item number 9. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Sherman.
Oh, I'm ready for the pickleball courts. Are we on that item?
Yeah, we're about to go on that, but we have to let him present first. And then I have somebody else that's going to speak first. You're a little ahead of the gun. Okay, so agenda item number 9, discussion for possible action regarding the naming of pickleball courts at Police Memorial Park located at 3250 Metro Academy Way, Ward 4, all wards. And I assume, Director, that you're going to be speaking on this item?
Yeah, sorry, no luck, no other presenter, guys. So for the record, Pat O'Mara, Deputy Director of Parks, Recreation, Cultural Affairs. This is something that we've been working on for a little bit. The request had come to Councilwoman that the pickleball complex, and especially now that it is being expanded up at Police Memorial Park, have a name consideration. And so we went through a public input process, and we have the results for you at your stations today. My apologies that I did not get it finished in time to send it out prior to this meeting. It should have been out with the agenda to you, and that is my mistake, trying to juggle 2.5 jobs and not quite getting there. So my apologies for that. But similar to the way we have done this in the past, I have provided you the information in a couple of different ways. One, you'll see in this legal size papers the raw data that came into us. The only information that is not on this is the actual name, email address of the people who submitted. I stripped out the personal information, but this is, I didn't even run spell check. So that's how this one came in for you. The other information I did sort by where the data came from. So you'll see on this image here on your screen, this is from naming submissions that are not within the city borders. Some of them look like it, but they actually happen to be in a county island. And so you'll see those recommendations here on this next screen. Guardian Courts, Hero Haven, Heroes Live Forever, Honor Courts, Unity Courts, and there were actually 2 that were in general about Unity Courts. For those of you looking at the synthesized results on the letter size paper, that's on page 3. We're actually going to work our way forward because I have them a little bit out of order. My apologies.
Actually, Director, I don't mean to cut you off, but in the essence of time, and because I think it was brought to my attention that somebody has something to share about this particular item ahead of time, and I think it would influence any discussion that we would have. And it might send us on a different course and actually help us save time today. And so with that, would you mind if I went ahead and presented that information? Is that, yeah. So I'd like to call Vice Chair Niger, who actually recently was contacted while we were at the meeting by the Councilwoman today, and she had a request.
Thank you, Vice Chair Niger, Ward 4. I know that we all feel special, that parks are special places, and Police Memorial is indeed a special park and place, and it is very important to the law enforcement community. As I understand it, per the Councilwoman's office, there has been a major party within the law enforcement community who has asked to meet with the Councilwoman prior to a decision being made on this matter. With that in mind, I would like to request that we defer this matter to the Councilwoman's office or obey or postpone this agenda item to the next meeting, if that is possible.
And I
Yeah,
was going to
Chairman.
ask the city attorney with this information if we need a motion to obey this item, or is that something that falls within my preview?
No, we're going to, it sounds to me like the commissioner for Ward, the board member from Ward 4 is asking for an abeyance. That's what it sounds like.
Correct.
And that would put this on the next meeting, is that what we're talking about, a month from
Yeah.
now? That would be on May 6th.
Okay.
And so what I would ask you to do, if that's what the commission would like to do, if that's what the chairman would like to ask for, a motion to obey, then I'd like you
That's
to
what I was asking.
ask for a motion to May 6th.
So given the fact that this is coming from the councilwoman in Ward 4, that we obey this item, I'd go ahead, and especially because we have time, running short on time anyway, I'd like to ask for a motion to obey this item till the next meeting. Does somebody want to make?
I would like to second that.
Oh, no, somebody has to make the motion other than me.
Oh.
So you make the motion, Mr. Knight.
I would like to make that motion.
All right.
To obey this agenda item to May 6th, next commission meeting.
Thank you very much.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you very much. I didn't mean to step on you, Director, but I knew this was coming, so.
No problem. We will have this presentation to you at a later date. The information is certainly, you're welcome to take that home. The survey won't change, it's already closed, so.
Yeah, no, that's actually great. It'll give us an opportunity for you guys to look at the names and reflect on that and have any other additional input so we can have a very positive discussion about what name we're going to go with. Moving to agenda item number 10 is a report by
Quick
Patrick.
question?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Commissioner.
Commissioner
Yes,
Stitt, Ward 4, could you state again the party, the police, I think you mentioned the police department or somewhere?
I don't have the exact name of the person.
I think Commissioner Sherman, do you have the name of the association for the police?
Yes, just very briefly, I will let you know that I did contact the office of, let me get my notes, the Office of Public Information for the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and unfortunately, they were not consulted in this park naming process. So one of the things that I can do as a private citizen is I can recommend, I will send an email to Councilwoman Frances Allen Polinsky asking her to consider naming the Durango Hills pickleball courts after John Sloan, and to keep the Police Memorial Park pickleball courts within the Police Association.
Chairman, if we're going to have more conversation about the item,
exactly.
we're going to have to reopen the item.
No, I understand, I understand you. Yeah, I understand. I think we just wanted the name on that. I wasn't looking for additional discussion, so my apologies. Agenda item number 10, report by Patrick O'Mara, Deputy Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs Director regarding a review of a dog park hours, all wards.
So this is a report that was asked for by members of this group, and so this is a little bit of a background, and then kind of where we go from here. So currently, our dog parks operate on our standard city operating hours for our parks, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Park staff will open the gates and the bathrooms, make sure the bathrooms are clean, those kinds of things, by 7 a.m. every day. And then Allied Security, through a contract with the Department of Public Safety, they are actually currently contracted to close our park bathrooms and gates every night at 11 o'clock. And so that's kind of how we're operating. We don't have staff that are that late into the evening. We handle the morning, Allied handles the evening, and then it's available for the public from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. So I wanted to bring forward a few things for your information on changes that would be necessary for dog park hours to be adjusted. First of all, there would need to be an ordinance change in order to actually specifically provide a distinction for dog parks. And that's not an easy task. but a specific carve-out for dog parks would need to be made. Again, like our default hours for parks are 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Now, director approval can adjust those hours, but inward. So we've talked about special facilities maybe not quite being open that late. For instance, Floyd Lamb Park, while we may have staff there through, we have maintenance staff that actually open up that park in the morning, the park itself doesn't open until 8, and it closes earlier into the evening. And so that would be one way that the director can actually approve different hours. But by default, they are no earlier than 7 a.m., no later than 11 p.m. And then physical changes would actually have to be put into place for dog parks to be carved out of other larger facilities. They would need their own unique entrance. They would need their own unique parking structure, bathrooms if necessary, those kinds of things. So we would need to actually create a whole new infrastructure level for the dog parks to provide the proper amenities for our community were we to go this route. So if we're going to change the hours, if we go through all that, we make all the changes, we change all the ordinances and things like that, what that means is closing the parks later would actually require a renegotiation of the Allied Security contract. Because right now, they have a finite window that they operate within. And so to adjust that and change that, we would have to renegotiate that contract. That's a dicey move because we may have additional funding that's necessary to make that sort of thing happen. Opening earlier in the morning is also a very challenging thing because we have staff that come on a little bit earlier in the day. Generally, they're there by 5:30 in the morning, and they're doing their safety talks, and they're checking in with their crew leaders about what they need to be accomplishing for the day, and they're loading up their trucks and all those kinds of things. We would have to pull them in earlier into the day to open up earlier in the morning. That is certainly a challenge. We're not currently operating outside of a single day shift within our Parks and Grounds maintenance. It could happen, but that is a very challenging thing to have happen. And then were we, let's say, for argument's sake, to get out there by 5 for our dog parks, my staff would have nothing to do for 2 hours because of noise ordinances that we can't actually start running an engine until 7 a.m. So there's nothing for them to do, which, of course, as you all know, is a challenging situation to be in when you then have to pay for staff for that time. Leaving the parks open for 24 hours, I've had conversations with our representatives at the Department of Public Safety. It invites undesirable activity. You will certainly have somebody who's out walking their dog, but because it's a place to be and it's not a place that you are not supposed to be, we will definitely have people utilizing that park for other activity. And so at this time, we will be retaining our existing dog park hours. Certainly, I believe you all understand now is not a very easy time for us to be expending a lot of additional capital on making these adjustments or working on these contracted adjustments. But then certainly we would have to increase Department of Public Safety going through that area on a more regular basis if those hours are to be adjusted. So I wanted to provide a little bit of a background, some of the things that would be necessary for these things to come about, and then really kind of show you, illustrate to you what things are certainly possibilities if we're going to move that direction. It is not something that we are, as a department, ready to make a move on. It is certainly something that we will continue to consider, but at this time, we are electing not to make an adjustment to our dog park hours.
Director, thank you very much for that. I think that was Commissioner Martin's request that you research this. He's not here today. I'll make sure he gets this information. I know you'll see it in the meeting minutes as well.
Sure.
If there are other commissioners that wanted to comment on this particular issue, yes, go ahead, Commissioner.
Commissioner Gabriel, Ward 5. The park closed every Wednesday for cleaning between 12 to 4 p.m. And the people asking if it could be cleaned for 2 times a week.
Which park in particular is
That's
that?
Children Memorial Park.
Okay. That's something that we, that one in particular is an operational adjustment, and so Steve and I will have that conversation about if there are opportunities to limit that. There's certainly a lot of activity that happens in that park.
Yes.
And we do try and limit our interaction, not interaction, that's the wrong word, but our influence of other things that are happening in the park. We want the community to be coming out, and we don't want to be a barrier for that. So we'll look at that and see if there are opportunities for adjustment.
And I just want to add on to that, they appreciate it. You replaced the water fountain, and they have also a walk dogging. It's wonderful. The only thing they ask also for the dogs, for the small dogs. The area is very dark in the evening. If the light can be added to it,
Okay. Yeah, that's,
still children.
yeah,
Memorial Park.
we'll add it to our list of considerations. So lighting is actually handled by Public Works. We work very well with them. And that is a challenging infrastructure adjustment, but it is something that we have been able to handle in the past. And so it's something that we'll have a discussion about and certainly loop in the other divisions as well
Thank
to
you.
see if it's a possibility. Yeah.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sherman?
Lisa Sherman, for the record. I just want to also add that because we do have 11 dog parks within the city, that they all do affect the neighboring community and the homes that are close by. If it's appropriate, I'd like to make a motion at this time that we retain the existing dog park hours as they are.
Chairman, Jim Lewis, City Attorney's Office. Chairman, or Commissioner, I'm sorry, this is a report only. And so we actually have advertised it that, and we're not allowed to take action today. So I think your request has been heard, certainly by the Deputy Director, and we thank you for that.
Yeah, I concur.
I'd like to make a motion that we retain the existing dog park hours as they are.
No, Commissioner Sherman, what he's saying is because we didn't include this as an item to take action, we're unable to entertain a motion on this particular item. It has to be a report only.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
Is there a way we can show support?
But we heard you, and we'll take that under advisement, okay? Thank you so much. Any other comments? No? Great. I know we're going to run a little bit late today, and my apologies. We do our best all the time and closer to time. But we do have a report by Commissioner, thank you, Director. Agenda item number 11, a report by commission members regarding park issues and events within their respective council wards at large. I have a few items, so what I'm going to ask today is that I take the front and I'll take the back, and I'm going to add Lisa Sherman onto my back. So with that in mind, I'm going to start by just saying, and then I'll in between will be anybody else who'd like to speak. I'd like to go ahead and welcome Walter Jones, our new Ward 5 Commissioner, and just briefly, if you could just say a few things about what interested you in Parks and Recreation, and maybe some of your community service that I know you're involved with, and where your interest is within our community, please.
Thank you for that. My name is Walter Jones III. I'm a resident of Ward 5 for the last 55 years. Most of the stuff in our area, we're dealing with a lot of homeless problems. So we're trying to make sure, actually, I've seen a couple of the City of Las Vegas parks, workers over there doing a great job of keeping the parks clean, making sure that they do keep the homeless out of there from camping out over there. I know they had a big problem over at Lorenzi Park, which they've been making sure that that's been get them out of there, to move them from over there. So I'm basically, making sure that, we all represent Las Vegas, not just one area. We represent Las Vegas. And it was a good question was asked earlier with the Badland project. I'm just hoping it doesn't affect the parks where you guys have to have a skeleton crew where we need to make sure everything is taken care of in the proper way. All the parks are representing Las Vegas. And I appreciate you guys for this appointment and look forward to having fun with you guys. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Commissioner Jones, welcome. Do I have any other commissioners that would like to speak today? Yes, Commissioner?
Commissioner Gervais, Ward 5. I just want to extend my warm welcome to the new Commissioner Jones. I look forward to work with you improving our parks so the public can enjoy. So if you have any question, we'll be happy to assist you with anything we can. And also, please reach out for any question you have, and welcome.
Thank you, Councilman.
Other commissioners, before I grab, okay, thank you. Commissioner Armenian?
Commissioner Randy Armenian, mayoral appointee, would like to inform you that tomorrow in these chambers, I will be awarded City of Las Vegas Citizen of the Month Award. Thank you.
Congratulations, Commissioner. I have a few things to go over, wearing multiple hats today. This weekend, Councilwoman Victoria Seaman is hosting an Art in the Park at Bruce Trent Park from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on April 5th, and I'll have a tent there, actually. I'll be signing books and showcasing some of my daughter's artwork if you have time to drop by and say hello. She's actually in Illinois studying art and psychology in Augustana College. On Saturday, April 12th, the Councilwoman will be hosting a breakfast buzz from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. at Veterans Memorial Center, 101 Pavilion Drive. The event is free, and that's and an RSVP to Ward 2 at lasvegasnevada.gov. I found these events are always a great time to talk about parks, and including our support with fiscal matters. I wanted to commend Vice Chairman Nygaard. Recently, he joined a coalition of different parks people on our behalf to speak about a particular legislative item that is currently up there in Carson City with the state of Nevada that would have probably had some detrimental impact on parks. I'm not going to go into the details today, but I just wanted to thank him for taking the time to do that for us. I also wanted to mention that I recently accepted a chair position for this year's statewide award program, Recognizing Volunteers, which is hosted by Nevada Volunteers, that oversees AmeriCorps programs in our state. So nominations for the Stars of Nevada Governor Points of Light Awards are now open, and I really wanted to bring it to this commission because I know some of you might be interested in submitting a nomination, especially those that maybe have an interest and have done volunteer work for the pickleball community, or maybe people who have done some work with the Healing Garden, among others. So you can find out more details on nominations at nevadavolunteers.org. And of course, since I'm chairing this event this year, I'm always looking for some more volunteers to help with various phases of the event, so feel free to talk with me after the meeting or reach out anytime. Our first virtual meeting will be held this Thursday, April 3rd. So thank you so much for that. And now, last but not least, I wanted to bring to your attention today that wow, this is going to be a little hard one, so I'm glad you all stuck around for this. Lisa Sherman's, and I'm going to have her talk some of the details maybe, but I did want to say that Commissioner Lisa Sherman's service is pretty amazing. She served the city and the commission for more than 3 decades, 33 years to be exact, originally appointed by Mary Jan Jones. Some people don't even know who that is in this room. So, well, some of us do because we're older, right? This is one of those many reasons, you know, I have to say I've relied on her over the years, not only as a commissioner, but also as a de facto historian of our organization. She tends to know because she's been here. And I hope you have all an opportunity to read about her accomplishments across her storied career with the email that was sent out, and then you'll recognize just how much she's helped our city. I also know that she's being considered for the status of emeritus, which means she could retain an honorary title of her office here, and that means she'd be able to get the meetings minutes and the agendas and join us as a member of the public. And I'm very hopeful that this happens because she definitely deserves it. And Lisa, I would personally like to thank you so much for this, and I know you have some words too, but before you do, I just want to give you a personal thank you from myself, and I have something for you, and then I also know that staff has something for you as well, so I'd like us to give you that now.
Thank you so much. I have a gift for you, too. I want to share, I'll make it very quick, because I know everybody's ready for dinner. Richard Becker joined the commission in 2012, and I'm being serious when I say this. I'm not trying to be too funny, but one of our first meetings was the City of Las Vegas Neighborhood Development, and you were so instrumental in sharing expertise that I was really, truly blown away by who is this guy? And so what I'm doing is I'm giving you a trophy, and it's the Scarecrow. And the reason why I'm giving you this trophy is because you're the first person on the board who was so right brain, left brain at the same time. I never met somebody who had so much creativity. And you might remember me gushing all over when you were like showing that creative side of yourself to the board. So I'm also leaving you with documents from before 1999 that details some of the things that went on in the City of Las Vegas Parks and Rec Board. So I'm so honored to know somebody so right brain, left brain, and I want to share that with you. I also want to make mention of Stephen Niger. A lot of people don't realize he came onto the board as, in my opinion, a young kid. And Stephen, I was like, what's this young guy doing on the board? And then all of a sudden, we're reading about you in Business Week Review, and you're making all these awards within your profession. We watched you get married. We watched you have children. It was just such a pleasure. And so what I'm leaving you with is your first mention, your public mention in Beyond the Neon. I don't know if you have access to this document. And your first corporate challenge handouts from way back when. That was 2000, let's see, was that 15? And so the award that I am giving you is the Bravery Award. So I'm giving you this lion from The Wizard of Oz, and I know your kids will love it. And then I know the city's honoring Andy Armenian tomorrow, but what a lot of people don't know about Andy is that he has the biggest heart. When he came onto the board in 2008, he brought a passion that we rarely see in people, and his partnership with other community partners like the library district, for instance, and all the things that he brought to the board was so fresh and so sweet. So what I'm leaving Andy with, and make sure you pick these bags up because I can't bring them all home, is I'm giving you the Tin Man Award. Now, this is not as professional as what you'll receive tomorrow, but I also have for you the Beyond the Neon with your name mentioned, and I also have the brochure from the first, I think this was the first presentation you were with us, the Park Ambassadors Program. So I'd like you to have those mementos from me. And then I just want to say something to Elizabeth. She was my fun partner on the journey of the Yellow Brick Road. You get the Dorothy Award. We had so much fun going to the different recreation centers because they were all being built at that time. And I have for you the original document in the Beyond the Neon when you were listed as a board member. And I also have for you the first report you sat in on July 2015 meeting of the Deputy Park Marshal Unit. So I'd like you to have those mementos. I'd like to just make a real quick mention about Stephen Glimp, because I also have a bag for him of his first presentation to the board. He was the urban forester, and he was presenting the tree program that's still in effect today. And all of you might not know that any one of us can purchase a tree in the park or a bench and have a plaque. And he was so instrumental in the condition of parks and surveys before he was promoted. And so, Stephen, I'm leaving you with a draft of my report and the official copy from 2017 of that policy. You might still have it, but I'd like you to take that with you as well. So I want you to all know how much I appreciate all the new people who've come on board. I still remember seeing you and all the things that you brought to us. I'm looking really forward to working with Brian on the pickleball court naming with John Sloan. And so I thank you all for your presence in my life.
Commissioner Sherman, that was no surprise wonderful. So thank you so much. Moving to agenda item number 12, I'd like citizens' participation. Public comment during the portion of this agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the commission. No subject may be acted upon by the commission unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion of any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. Seeing no one here for public comment, I can move to agenda item number 13, which is adjournment. This meeting's adjourned.